Alright, so it's been over 10 years since I first set foot in the gym, and if you told me back then how much of a positive impact that going to the gym would have on not only the way that I look, but the way that my life has gone as a whole, I honestly wouldn't have believed you. So let's rewind to a 16-year-old version of me. I was your typical teenager. I played a few sports, football, did a little bit of running, but I spent too much time on my Xbox. I was skinny fat, and it all came to a head one day when I realized I hated the way that I looked. I felt unnoticed, and I was incredibly small for my age as well. Now, this feeling of feeling unconfident, feeling like my clothes were hanging off me, not liking the way that I looked physically, that was enough to drive me to get myself a little plastic set of dumbbells, and that decision to this day is one of the best decisions I've made in my entire life. That plastic set of dumbbells then became my best friend. I would use them every single day in my bedroom. I would do curls, I would do chest flies, I would do bent over rows, I would do any exercise that I possibly could do to help improve my physique, alongside bodyweight movements like crunches, press-ups, planks, and over the space of 6 months, I started to gain a little bit of muscle mass. I started to see some veins popping out of my arms. I started to build a six-pack. I got rid of all the excess fat around my chest. And honestly, for the first time in my entire life, I truly felt confident, and other people started to notice as well. Now, throughout this time, what this taught me is that if I really put my mind to something, and if I committed to the result, and if I pushed my body, then there was gonna be something worth having at the other side. And as someone who grew up playing team sports, I was never really much of a team player. I wasn't particularly gifted technically when it came to sports either. So the fact that I could outwork people and I could put in effort with weights, learn, educate myself, and see those results physically and push myself further ahead than what I was, 6 months prior, this was an absolute goldmine to me. Now, my training progressed even further when my dad helped me invest in some new gym equipment. I got a bench press, I got a barbell, and had a little log cabin in my back garden as well, which became my home gym, and I became utterly obsessed with training, and this is where my physique started to improve even more. My shoulders were getting wider, I was even more committed, I started dialing in my food as well, and this is where my physique really started to change, and this is where my confidence as a person got even higher than what it had been over those initial 6 months. Now, when I reached the age of around 18, I'll be honest with you, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, but there was one thing that I was super consistent at, and there was one thing that I loved, and that was going to the gym. So I decided to get my PT qualification. I did my course in a city 3 hours away from my hometown in Glasgow, which again, I think was an amazing decision because it pushed me out of my comfort zone. I got my qualification, and this pushed me into personal training, being self-employed, and the challenges and just growth that I experienced as a person throughout this time were pretty huge, to be honest. So I'd gone from an insecure, shy teen who had no direction to now someone that was running their own business in the fitness industry. I was working full time. I was starting to learn about how to deal with people, build relationships, and earn money as well, which was absolutely huge. And if I'm gonna be brutally honest with you, if there's any of you sat there right now, you're in a rut, you're unsure what to do, you're maybe not happy with your relationships, you're not happy with your job, getting in shape, lifting weights, and doing something that's truly for you and for you only is the best advice that I could possibly give you. Because if I look back to when I was 16, if I hadn't bought those plastic set of dumbbells, if I hadn't educated myself on training, if I hadn't improved the way that I looked, I honestly do not know where I would be. And right now I can say that I'm in a position in life where I am committed. I like holding high standards for myself. I still work in the fitness industry and I help people every single day, both online with my online coaching business and in person with my in-person coaching business as well. So it's became something that has been a complete obsession. It has allowed me to work remotely. It's allowed me to help hundreds of people get in shape as well. And I think as a whole, just the gym and getting in shape and looking after yourself and doing something for you and your confidence is honestly one of the best things you can do as a young guy or a young girl or anyone of that age, to be honest. And something to note as well is this journey from being that insecure, shy teenager to being where I'm at now has been full of more challenges than you could ever imagine. I've had points where my business has been failing. I've had points where I felt like my physique wasn't good enough, because when you do start training, you sometimes fall into the trap of feeling like you've not got enough muscle, or you're never going to be lean enough, and you maybe get a little bit of body dysmorphia. But training and having this discipline and carrying on despite the challenges and the setbacks is another positive in itself, because the gym is a prime example of delayed gratification. Sometimes you need to work at something for months and years to get that payoff. And I think the society that we're in at the minute, people want things right now. So when it comes to the gym, people maybe turn to performance enhancers, or they try and get ripped quickly, or they turn to crash diets. But as someone who started lifting and someone who started training early in the gym, I know personally that if I stick at something for long enough, may it be the gym, a business, talking to the camera, YouTube, and if I really put in the effort, and if I'm passionate about it, and if I am consistent, that the result is gonna come. And that's one of the main messages I want you to take from this video. Anyone can do it. It doesn't matter what your starting point is. You could have been like me when I was 16, literally 60 kilograms, dripping wet. You could be 30 years old, just out of a long-term relationship. You could be 50 years old. I've worked with all of these different people, and if you put in the effort, if you get the training done, if you really commit to things, then you can change your physique and you can change your mindset as well. And one last point to end this video on is going to be, when you look back at your life when you are 80 years old, 90 years old, it could be even younger than that, right? Do you want to look back and think to yourself, I could have looked better, I could have done more for myself physically, I could have treated myself better, I could have made more out of the time that I had on the planet? Because it is so easy these days to be lazy, to eat convenience foods, to drink all the time, to party all the time. Again, I feel like it's good to have a little bit of a balance. I love spending time with my mates and going to raves and going to events just as much as the next person. But if that's what your whole life revolves around, and you're waking up and looking at yourself in the mirror every single day, hating the way you look, hating the way that your life's going, and just not happy and feeling like you're miles off your potential, then to me, that is not a life that's worth living. And going to the gym, lifting weights, it might seem something that's so simple and that's so easy to do these days with all your resources, but it generally can be the number one thing that changes your life completely, and it completely did for me as well. But that was just more of a raw talk sort of style video today, just getting some thoughts out to the camera. If you've enjoyed it, be sure to hit like as well. Be sure to subscribe to the channel too. There's going to be more videos coming this week, and I appreciate you guys all tuning in. I'll catch you in the next one.